Hello everyone, I'm FARMERSIM and welcome to St. Edward, Nebraska. So right off the bat, I've got to say initially a massive thank you to one of my viewers, CORSAIR, hello mate, hope you're well, who actually brought this map to my attention. I'd never heard of it before. I believe it's a relatively recent release. It's by ANTLER 22. The link for the download for ANTLER 22's itch.io page will of course be in the video description below. But yeah, I had no idea of this one's existence, and sure enough I've downloaded it, had a bit of a quick look around, and it is an absolute beauty. It really is. We really are a very lucky bunch getting maps like this, especially at this stage, this late stage in Farming Simulator 22. But yeah, this is an absolute corker. Now, reading from ANTLER 22's itch.io page, where you can download this map from, obviously the link will be in the video description below. I'll read you a little bit of information regarding the creation of this and what it features. So, it has real terrain data, it contains multi-terrain angles, it contains a custom soil map, it contains alfalfa, triticale, peas and as added crops. There is custom corn, milo, alfalfa and soybean textures. There is seasonal foliage and seasonal map borders. It is row crop ready for corn and for soybeans. It does support the swathing add-on mod. It contains realistic erosion effects on terrain. It is maize plus ready. There are 2.5 dairies, there is 1 large feedlot, a small cattle farm, 1 hog building. It contains custom freestall barns, credits to Atacam for those. Custom license plates for Nebraska, again, credit to Atacam for those as well. Most buildings and placeables are baked into the map, so no extra mods are needed. The custom farms are based off of real-life locations, some from this area and some from others. It contains dirt roads with rocks and pebbles. And he has lastly stated that the map was not done alone. He's put this together and used plenty of assets, objects, buildings, etc. from the farming simulator community. Examples of those are the Suncor ethanol plant is from Upper Mississippi River Valley by DJ Modding. The Galt Co-op is from Medicine Creek. The Pioneer Seed dealership is from River Bottom Customs. The Nutrien Ag Solutions is from Wind Chaser and LBJ Media. It contains the Ashton Corners Dairy Farm by MRG Mapping. The John Deere dealership is from Westby, Wisconsin by Tired Iron Modding and MB Farms. The Case IH dealer is from Midwest Horizons by Czar. The Way Station is from Cunningham Modding, and he's added the scale and probe animation himself. The 90 by 200 shed is from Trailer Park Farms. And the map and decorative objects, traffic, etc. is from Bronchima's Public Releases. And another credit to Bryce O for creative insight and extensive testing. And he has said at the end as well, and there are many more. So it has been a bit of a collaboration, this. It contains quite a bit of work from other people as well, but ANTLER22 has done a fabulous job of this map. The feel of it just feels perfectly authentic. Now, forgive me, maybe I should have said this at the very beginning, but this is a 4X map, so it is PC only. As I said before, the link will be in the video description below. So yeah, it's an absolute corker. It really is. I've spent a little bit of time now, the last couple of hours, just whizzing around in flight mode, just getting familiar with the place, trying not to get lost and remember where I am, and trying to locate the starter farms and such. So, but before we go into that, we'll jump into the map PDA and have a bit of a look there. So, the map is made up of 51 fields. The smallest is field 26 here, which is just to the right of centre. That's 1.17 hectares, 2.9 acres. And the biggest on the map, field 38, which is just to the south of that. That's 60.71 hectares, 150.01 acres. And a good variety of field sizes in between both of those. So it's a cracker for soloing, and it's a cracker for multiplayer. It really is. There's plenty of space, obviously being a 4X out here in Nebraska. Big, wide open fields, plots of land. So yeah, you can go for your life with whatever play style that you like to go for. So there are 3 main sell points on the map. You've got Suncor ethanol in the very top left there. You've got the Galt Co-op, which is just down the road from that as well. Bottom left-hand corner of the map here, you have Southern Farmers Cooperative. Now they, I believe, are the 3 main grain sell points. At the very top right of the map up here, you've got a purchase point for herbicide, solid and liquid fertilizer. Just to the south of that, on the very right-hand side of the map, you've got Nutrien Ag Solutions, where you can bring your stones to be sold. You can turn your stones to lime and load your anhydrous as well. Again, a few miles south of that one, you've got the Pioneer Seed purchase point, so that's where you can go and pick up your seed, of course. And just to the south of that again, you've got an area to sell your silage, and you've also got a point to purchase slurry and manure if need be. And in the very bottom right hand corner of the map, you've got the vehicle dealership, where obviously you pick up all your equipment. Now that's kind of an interesting one in of itself, this one, because I don't think I've seen that on many other maps. It's just a visual thing, but there's a John Deere dealership and a Case dealership right next to each other. There's still one point for us to buy the vehicles on, but so like I say, it's just a visual thing. But I thought that was quite cool, having a red and a green right next to each other. Also, as you can see from the map, the map itself, the file you download, comes with its own built-in auto drive course, so that was a real nice surprise, I must admit. Big time saver, obviously. With a bit of 4X, it can take quite a long time to make an auto drive course, so yeah, with that coming built in, I was very grateful for that. Now another interesting point, zooming in just to look at this one in particular, but in the centre of some of the fields you'll see this a blank patch, essentially, a little circle in the middle. Obviously that indicates the centre of the field, and what that does, what ANTLER22 has done that for, is it's given us the option to use the circular pivot irrigation systems, if that's how you like to do that. So highlights the centre of the field so you know where to place it. Very helpful little thing indeed. Now, as you can see, all we can see on the map at the minute is corn and soybeans. Like I said before, it also does support Rowcrop corn and Rowcrop soybeans, as well as the added crops into the map, the custom ones, triticale, alfalfa and peas. But yeah, really quite nice. It does support the premium DLC as well, but I haven't got that activated in here because I much prefer just having it look like this, just with the corn and soybeans, because obviously I believe this is what kind of happens in this area of the world. Now, I think I've managed to find, I believe, 10 main farm areas. We're going to have a look at a few of those, most of them as possible if we can. But yeah, I've bought the whole map at the minute because I wanted to also show you the custom precision farming map. That's the custom soil map. So I've bought all the areas of land. So obviously we can see all the bits and bobs that are dotted around. You've got the big free stalls over at this side. You've got the big dairy farm down here, the big feedlot. There is a hog barn, if I remember. Is that here, I think? Yep, there's a hog barn there, and there's a few other free stalls and dairy farms as well dotted around the map. So we'll go and take a look at those. And obviously there's some normal ones, let's say normal ones, you know, just like a nice rural farm going on over here with a small cattle lot. So we'll go and have a look at most of those, see what they look like. But the feel of this place is just brilliant. The way he's laid some of the designs, some of the farms, they just feel absolutely wonderful, and that's what draws me to maps. Just seeing one farm, for example, and going, I really want to play on that. So we'll go and have a look at a few of those. But first of all, we'll jump into the precision farming menu and have a look at the custom soil map. So as you can see, quite interestingly, every single plot of land is kind of lined with a ring of loamy sand and a variation of sandy loam and silty clay in between. So that's quite interesting. Now there is another interesting point as well that I can't actually show you right this second because I own all the land, but I need to come out of it and sell it all. But that's just the names of the NPCs on the map. Again, another nice little attention to detail. But also the map contains a custom crop calendar, so you need to go and have a look at that. As you can see there, custom crop calendar for the planting and the harvesting, no doubt particular to this area of the world. So that's that. So as I say, I'm going to spend a couple of minutes now. I'm going to go and sell a load of the land just so that I can show you the interesting points regarding the names of the NPC players. Right, so lots of land sold, and now it's brought up some contracts for me to be able to do. But as you can see, the names of the characters that we've got as other landowners are quite interesting. I'm sure a lot of them will be quite familiar. So we've got the likes of Grant Hilbert, we've got Cole the Corn Star, we've got Chet Larson, we've got Laura Farms. Scrolling down a bit, we've got Chet Larson again, we've got Nick Welker, we've got Zach Johnson, we've got Jeremy Clarkson, and Brian Brown, there we go. And I think that's as much as it brings up in that respect. I have tried to refresh the list as much as possible. But it's just a really cool little attention to detail that I quite thought. He's obviously gone through, he's even put custom photos in there of all the characters, which I think is really cool. So yeah, wonderful little attention to detail that, I've got to say. I've not seen that on any other map really. So I think now it's about time that we go for a bit of a fly around. Now ordinarily I know a lot of people do map tours in a vehicle and go for a bit of a drive around and that, but personally I prefer to jump into flight mode, especially on a 4X because it is a big place. So we'll jump into flight mode and have a bit of a fly around and have a look at a few of the farms and a few of the feedlots and cattle barns and dairy farms, etc. So this is the first one I've come across. This is essentially the dairy farm straight out of Ashton Corners by MRG Mapping. It's a beautifully laid out farm, lovely buildings, lovely white buildings. This contains 2 areas for cows. Now one of the things, it's a minor thing in my mind personally, but the triggers for the animal dialogues aren't visually there unfortunately, but if you come in front of this gate it is there and you can purchase your animals. Now this area will hold 100 cows, and the smaller one, which is just down the bottom here, will take 50. Now again, the trigger isn't visually there, but it is there. You can just click on it. It's in front of the gate, and that'll take 50. So in total, if you were to buy this plot of land and run this farm, you can hold 150 cows in total. Now I think I did mention before at the beginning of the video, it's technically still, it's not a work in progress. It is done, but ANTLER 22 is still making updates to it and fine-tuning it and such. So if you were to play this and if he was to notice that, you can always leave him a comment in his itch.io page or in the comments of his video on YouTube, because he has done his own like small map tour of this as well, just highlighting a few of the areas on the map. I highly recommend you go and watch that, actually. It's about 15-20 minutes long, if I remember correctly, but he does, obviously being the creator of the map, he's way more versed and educated on the little bits that need mentioning. There are a couple of little bits that he has gone into a little bit of detail in, just to inform us on how to use them. So I highly recommend you go and watch that as well. I will post the link in the video description for that. But yeah, this is the first farm I came across. It's got some good sized sheds for storage. You've got a workshop in there, of course. Lovely kitted out thing there. Bit of a garage there. You've got your farmhouse there for your sleep trigger if need be. But it's a really nicely laid out farm, I've got to say. It really is. So, and you've also got Trailer Park Farms 90 by 200 shed, I think it is, or is it 90 by 1? No, it's 90 by 200, I think, isn't it? Beautiful big workshop there from Trailer Park Farms. I just love the layout of it. It just looks perfect. It really does. So, on to the next one. Onto this feedlot over here. So next up, we have the Holy Cow Dairy Farm. Now, this is a beautifully laid out area, I've got to say. It has the capacity to hold 1,000 cows in total, 500 in this free stall there, and 500 in the free stall up the hill here. Now, interesting, this is, I like the way this is laid out, to be fair, but you've got two gigantic slurry pits here. This one will take the slurry from this free stall, and this slurry pit will take the slurry from that free stall, I believe. Yeah, and you can collect and load up your slurry into the respective tanks, the vehicles, under the auger here, and under the auger here. Now, I think the igloos here are all for decoration only, I think, but yeah, it's a nicely laid out place. You've got a couple of hoop barns, one over there, one on the other side there for a bit of vehicle storage. I suppose you could store some vehicles in here as well. You've got a few load points in here. Now, if you were to be running Maize Plus, this is where you can also pick up molasses. If you go to this trigger point here, you can fill up with what you can select the product for water. But obviously, I don't have Maize Plus running. But if you did, this is where you get your molasses from as well. So yeah, and there's your load point. Once you've opened the door, of course. There we go. Yeah, a really nicely laid out farm area, the Holy Cow Dairy Farm. And obviously you've got a manure bunker there, you've got a couple of silage areas here, another manure bunker there, and you've got yourself another silage clamp there as well. So yeah, you'll have a busy life down here, that's for sure, with 1,000 cows. And we're just down the road now again. That's the Holy Cow Dairy Farm just in the distance, and we're now just up the road at this quite frankly beautifully laid out traditional kind of grain farm area. You've got Trailer Park Farm sheds there. You've got a lovely workshop here as well, which has got, I think it's got a bit of a hydraulic lifting. But yeah, and obviously you've got your big AGI grain bins, grain dryers, and a concept shed as well there, set in the middle. Really nicely laid out, I've got to say. Love that one. Very nice indeed. Good for getting your big equipment on anyway, especially if you're in some of these fields around. Goodness me, that's a big one. But yeah, beautifully laid out. And we're just down the road here from the Galt Co-op. Now, I believe this is the Galt Co-op from Medicine Creek. But again, really nice addition to the map. You've got your weighbridge, of course, there. But yeah, really nice. One of the main 3 grain sell points here. And again, we're just down the road from this is the Suncor ethanol plant. Now, this is straight out of the upper Mississippi River Valley. It's a lovely big complex, I've got to say. Nice big industrial area. But again, if you watch Antler 22's video that he's made himself, there's a little bit more detail on a couple of areas up here. But yeah, essentially for selling your corn. Yeah, lovely area, lovely detail. Right, so we're flying along the north edge of the map here, just to keep our bearings. That's the Suncor ethanol plant that we've just visited there in the distance. And we're right along the top edge of the map here, somewhere in the middle, where this is the animal dealership. Now, I did mention before that I'd had a couple of issues when it comes to the animal triggers, at some of the feedlots and the cattle barns. But obviously, it's no real problem, because you can come to the animal dealer, and if you own more than one, well, if you own any of the animal feedlots, for example, you can just come to the animal dealer, click on it and go to the particular one that you're looking to purchase the animals for, and purchase the animals from here for that particular pen or pigsty or beef shed or anything like that, or the free stall. Like I said, I did have a little, it's no great game breaker for me. It doesn't bother me at all, because you can just come to here and do it from here. But yeah, for example, when we go and visit the big custom feedlot down at the south of the map, I did find those animal triggers a little bit tricky to work with. But like I said, the solution is just come to the animal dealer up here, purchase the animals for all the pens, or for whichever pen you're looking to put animals in. Problem solved. So, making our way over here again, we have a really, really nicely laid out farm. This is one of my favourites, I've got to say. It's a beautiful one, it really is. Again, you've got a bit of a cattle area on here as well. I love this little decorative garden. I must admit, this looks like Mrs. FARMERSIM's vegetable patch in our garden. Maybe not quite as big as this, of course, but still. But yeah, lovely laid out farm. You've got a nice old water wind wheel turbine here. You've got a lovely old farmhouse. Some nice red sheds going on. Bit of a workshop there. You've got a really nice big grain dryer set up here. Concept shed, of course. Another vehicle storage shed. But I just love this contrast between kind of coming down here and looking at seeing the old worldy wind turbine there on the wooden structure, the relatively old looking house, and then a really quite nice modern looking grain bin dryer there. I just love that contrast. It just it feels nice, it really does. It feels very well laid out. So yeah, another one of the 10 starter farms on here. Now up here, now this is the, now we are in, if I go to the map very quickly just so I can keep the bearings, we are now pretty much in the very top corner of the map. So this is where you will purchase your solid and liquid fertilizer and herbicide, just from these areas up here. And then we want to go right down the edge of the map here. And there's also a little area here just south of this farm. Again, if you wanted to start off really basic and really rural, you've got a little area here that you could start off from if you need be. And of course, we didn't need a medieval catapult. But yeah, so what have we got here? This is the Nutrient Ag Solution. So this is where you can, there you go, there's your, this is where you can bring your stones to be sold. You can turn your stones to lime if need be there. And you can get your anhydrous loaded up there as well, if that's how you like to play. And then we want to run a bit further south again, keeping to the edge of the map, because I think this one is next to the Pioneer Seed dealership. Yep, there we go. The Pioneer Seed dealership. I'm sure we're all familiar with this building. That's where you buy your seed from, quite simply. And that's that. And then coming along here. Now this is a really nice little touch, I feel. I only picked up on this quite late on before I started recording, but this is essentially just again, it's just a bit of decoration. There's no none of the animals are animated, but you've got vehicles like this one here driving along with a bale fitted to his bale forks. There's an actual person in the cab, and it's the same. You've got tractors just sitting around. There we go. You've got a driver in there loading bales in a telehandler. You've got a driver sitting in the New Holland there. It's a completely, there's no animations going on, but it's just, as you're driving past, it just kind of makes it feel and look like something's actually happening, like other things are happening on the map. And when I noticed that, I just thought, oh, that's really quite clever, because I've never really seen that before. Again, you've got another driver there loading up the shed with some produce there in his telehandler. But yeah, I thought that was a really nice little attention to detail. It does seem to go off the very edge of the map as well. So when you come back here, it just looks like it's sprawling off into the distance. Even there, there's a tractor there into the distance with a bale on the forks there, off the map. But yeah, really nice little attention to detail. That I like that. I've got to say, really quite cool. And here we are in the bottom right-hand corner of the map at the vehicle dealership. Now, like I mentioned before, I really quite like this little attention to detail, but you've got a John Deere and you've got a Case dealership there, both with just blank NPC vehicles, just like parked up. But yeah, really quite like that. A nice little visual pond in the middle, of course. Kind of a broken tractor there, missing a wheel. But there is still, even though there's two visual dealerships, there's one area where you purchase your vehicles, and this is it. I've just bought this Ideal 10T just to place down. just to see where things spawn. But yeah, everything we buy spawns in this yard, of course, if we're not using store deliveries. But it's just got a really, it just looks busy, doesn't it? It looks full and like there's stuff going on, which is really quite nice. You've got a row of John Deere tractors, you've got a row of gravity bins and straw, well, they've got their manure carts actually there, aren't they? But yeah, just a nice little plethora of old machinery just lying around in a nice neat row. It just looks great, I've got to say, it really does. Right in the very bottom corner of the map. So yeah, so we'll make our way along the bottom now to the next farm. Right, so next along is the Subert calf ranches. So this freestall here, similar to the previous ones that we've seen, will hold 500 cows. But on this farm, you've got a bit of a wide manure spawning area here, and you've also got some silage fermenting silos going on here. So this is where you can add your grass and your chaff in there and create your very own silage in your own systems. These do appear in the production systems menu. So jumping very quickly into there, sorry, wrong menu, there we go. There's 4 of them. They'll hold a total of 387,000 litres of silage each. After buying pretty much everything on the map, these are the only things that come into the production systems. There wasn't any corn dryers or anything like that, just these. But yeah, there's 4 big ones of those, so more than 1.2, 1.3 million litres of silage you can hold in those when they're full. You've got a couple of storage sheds, workshops, etc. for holding your equipment, of course. Concept shed. Now I think this red barn, I believe this is just for decoration only. I'm pretty sure I couldn't get any door opening triggers on that one. You can, oh no, sorry, forgive me, you can drive in, but I do like it. It's a beautiful old thing, it looks lovely, but none of the doors you can have an animation to them. There's no closable or openable or anything like that. It's just what it is, but it's still a beautiful thing, I've got to say. But yeah, I suppose quite simply that's that cow farm, Subert's calf ranches. So we'll make our way along the south of the map again, along to the custom giant feedlot. Right, here we are at the big giant custom feedlot. Now this is a beautiful area, it really is. Now here you can hold, essentially this is made up of 10 pens, and across those 10 pens you can hold 1,520 cattle. Now all the pens don't necessarily hold the same amount. Pen 1 for example holds 150, pen 3 holds 80, pen 6 holds 50, pen 7 holds 300, 8, 9 and 10 hold 120 each. Pen 2 holds 220, so they're all in varying sizes. But what I was saying before about the issue I had with the triggers, for example, you can't. I have the triggers should be on right now, but they don't appear till you're quite close up. But for example, there you go. I've got a bit closer. The trigger's there, but there's nothing for me to do with it. I can't seem to do anything with it. I can open the gate, but there's no area for me to jump in and purchase the animals, hence why I just did it from the animal dealer and just put some animals in all of the pens, essentially. But either way, there's a problem, and I made my way around it, that's all that matters. Now, I did buy a couple of vehicles here just to test the feeding of them. Now, it seems that you'll need a straw blower. The straw trigger came up for me here using the just this base game straw blower, so that worked. As you can see there, we've got just over 9,000 litres of straw in this one, and they've got some food as well, and obviously feed triggers work from the left or the right using the TMR mixers, of course. But yeah, just a really nicely laid out area, and of course you've got some hoop barns, you've got some silage clamps, you've got some silage areas here, and you've got your manure spawn point there as well. Nice big open area. So there is plenty of scope. Obviously, with this being a 4X map, there's huge amounts of scope for you to build your own custom farm and go for your life and get your creative on, as it were. There's even that down here, even on this farm here, there's just this big wide open area for you to place down whatever you need. Customize it to your liking, of course, but yeah, a really nice area, especially for getting your Angus beef on, that's for sure. And then heading on over here to the very bottom left-hand corner of the map, this is the last of the 3 sell points. Now this is one that there is, I'd highly recommend going to watch ANTLER 22's own video on here, because he does mention these. There's a couple of these way bridges here, and there's an animation involved down here, but essentially what he said was there's an invisible collision at the end of the ramp here. Reading from his website, it says, for the scale stroke probe, you can get out of your vehicle and click, and the animation for the probe, which is there, should start to remove the collision. But if you want it to happen automatically when a vehicle comes onto the scale, he recommends using a particular mod in which he's linked it after that sentence. So it's definitely worth going to check it out. But yeah, this is the third of the cell. I just need to remind myself what this one's called. Where are we? Down to the bottom right of the map. Southern Farmers Cooperative, that's it. So yeah, essentially aside from the way bridges there in and out, that's your sell point in there, so that's all cool. So let's head on north a bit here. Right, one of the few farms on the map that doesn't have anything to do with cattle at the minute. It's just essentially just an arable farmyard, I suppose. Big couple of big workshops. Now this one is a bit of a custom workshop. I do love this one, I've got to say. I believe this is something that ANTLER 22 worked on himself. But yeah, I've never seen it before. But it's a beauty. I just love the decals on the wall, for example, the cartoon harvester. But even look at that. Just look at the Coca-Cola machine there. The clarity of that, it's photo quality, isn't it? It's gorgeous. You've got yourself a little office in there, a few sofas to sit on if you're feeling a bit lazy for a bit tired after a hard day's work. But yeah, beautiful little workshop this. I say little, it's quite big, isn't it? But yeah, big enough to store that whopper in, that's for sure. And of course you've got your you've got a concept shed there. You've got another decent medium-sized workshop there as well. But of course, you've got plenty of areas of land outside of it as well, just to place down your own workshops or remove them if need be. But yeah, really nicely laid out farm, that one. And then we have the pig barn, the pigsty, which is just here. So we can see the trigger there. See how it works over here, doesn't it, compared to that the custom feedlot over there. You only had to get dead close, but you can see those triggers from quite far away. But let's just remind myself, got 2,400 capacity of pig here, hogs. So yeah, you can you fancy getting a bit of a pig farm on, this is where you want. And then we're pretty much back to where we were, because there's the dairy farm from Ashton Corners. And here we are at what I think is the last farm, but it's a beautifully rural, old-school little farm. This, I really do like this. It's this will hold 100 cattle in the cow lot here. There's your feed trough there, and of course you've got some grain bins. You've got some sheds for storage. Of course, you've got your house there where you can place down your custom sleep trigger if this is where you want to start off from. I think this building itself is purely decorational, but again, looks the part. Looks like it's definitely a few years old, that's for sure. But again, it's a lovely laid out farm. It really is. If it's nip round the back here, I think these bales belong to us as well. I think ANTLER 22 did mention that in his video, in fact, that there are some places. There we go. Yeah, 11,000 litre bale of straw there, owned by us, so that's very helpful. But yeah, I just love the way that there's a few old bits of machinery and equipment just strewn around the back here, buried in the trees, never to be used again perhaps. It adds so much character to the farm, it really does. And there we go, I think we've got another row of free bales. There you go, there's some serious literage of straw there, that's for sure. But again, you've got a few blank areas here for placing your own stuff down, designing your own farm if need be. But yeah, and I think as far as farms go, I think we've covered them. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, a relatively brief overview of St. Edward, Nebraska by ANTLER 22. This is a beautiful map, it really is. I really enjoy this map so far. It's the fact that we're getting maps like this at this stage in Farming Simulator 22 for me is just wonderful, it really is. But I do hope you've enjoyed this map tour. As I say, we've had a bit of a look around most of the farms, but the sell points, we've had a very quick look over all of them, of course. Obviously, I'll leave the fine details for you guys to discover for yourself if you download the map and if this floats your boat. But yeah, it's an absolute beauty, I've got to say. I really do like this one. It's got a lot of immersion to it for me. It feels like it's got a huge amount of character. It's not a completely flat map, obviously, as you can see, just from the hill that we're walking up at the minute. There's lots of ups and downs and undulations to give the area feel and character. It's a beauty, it really is. So I've got to say a massive thank you to ANTLER 22 for making this. It's It's an absolute corker. I want to say again a massive thank you to CORSAIR, one of my viewers who introduced me to it, who told me about it. As I say, before that comment I didn't even know of its existence, and I don't think by now I would have done had it not been for that comment. So massive thank you to you, mate. So there we go. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I do hope you've enjoyed the map tour. I hope it's whetted your appetite to go and give the link a click and download it and have a look for yourself. So there you go. As always, if you're new to my channel and you like my content, you like the way I'm doing things, please consider hitting that subscribe button and jumping on board, joining the channel. Please give the video a like if you can, does do wonders, helps the YouTube algorithm do its thing. And as always, there are a host of links in the video description below with my Giants Partner promo code. If any of you are in the market for purchasing a DLC, an add-on, a season pass, or even the full game itself, or even pre-ordering Farming Simulator 25, and you like the idea of helping a content creator out and supporting their channel, as always, I would be hugely, hugely appreciative. So thanks again for your time, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.
Thank you.